Hey, what's up, guys? You're here again today. Two podcasts back to back. It's a pleasure to me. It's an honor to me as this guy here, Eddie Abney. I say right your last name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Abney. Yeah,
All
Abney.
right. And he's the on and head instructor on Metodo MMA. Like my coach help me on my MMA journey a lot. And today we're here to talk a little bit about jiu-jitsu, about life, about everything, about our tournaments. But before we start, a quick shout out for our sponsors, Brave Kimonos. If you wanna get the nicest gears, geese to train and compete, check it out. Brave Kimonos, and please use your code PBJJF for 10% off. Uh, Shout out for Roll Live. They support us on all the equipment, help us on the live stream, on the tournaments, and they're doing awesome. Um, and very soon they will start instructions for with the coaches and professors around here. It will be like really nice too. I definitely would drop my course there. I don't know if we'll start with like lasso guard or some takedowns. Let's see. And that's it, man. Welcome, Coach Eddie. Thank you, JP. Always here. Let's start.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You've been trying to get me on here for a while.
Since the first one.
So how's your experience with martial arts, right? How did you get introduced to martial arts?
So I started with martial arts when I was actually a really young kid. I was really little. I think I was probably 8 or 9 years old when my parents put me in karate, and I think I was in karate for a couple of years, and then I stopped because I don't think I was naturally just drawn to that as much as I am something that is a little bit more practical or useful. Like I never really, it wasn't really what I was seeing working, and it just wasn't fun. And I started back with boxing when I was in high school, and I started boxing towards the tail end of high school. And the reason I started boxing is because 6 months before I watched Vanderlei Silva and Vitor Belfort fight. And that was the fight where Vitor ran him across the cage in 44 seconds. And the commentary leading into that fight, all the commentators were talking about was, oh yeah, this guy Vitor does boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I was like, okay, well, I know what boxing is, so I should start with that. Like, that sounds like a good jumping off point. And I started with boxing. I was in boxing until right after I graduated, or a little bit after, maybe 9 months after I graduated. And my coach came to me and said, hey, I know you're interested in doing this mixed martial arts stuff. Have you ever heard of jiu-jitsu? And I was like, well, yeah, I've heard of jiu-jitsu. I just don't know where to do it. And there's no schools real local to us for me to do it. And he said, well, there's a tournament in a couple weeks. You should do it. Like you should do this jiu-jitsu tournament. And I was like, okay, well, what do I have to do? He said, well, I think you need a uniform, like a karate uniform. And I was like, well, all right, why would I need a karate uniform to do a jiu-jitsu tournament? It doesn't make any sense. So I started researching it and saw that it was, it's called a gi. You should go buy a gi. I looked online for gis. Nobody really had any for sale. And then a guy at my gym overheard me talking about it a few days later, and he said, hey, I know of this jiu-jitsu gym that's in the area. They have a guy who's doing MMA out of it as well, and maybe you can go buy a gi there. So I went
And
to,
nobody talk about like maybe you training a little bit. Go there and buy a gi, but not train, okay?
yeah,
Just
yeah,
buy the gi.
yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah,
buy
yeah,
the gi.
buy the gi. No, so in the time, so
What
I
year was that?
this was 2005, or no, this was 2006. So it was very like
The beginner.
kind of, yeah, it was like the beginning of the second big wave, I would say. Like in terms of like scale, not in general, but in terms of scale, 2006 it was still relatively unknown. As far as like MMA, jiu-jitsu, like the UFC was just breaking onto the scene. Randy Couture had already fought Chuck Liddell. The Ultimate Fighter had been going on, and people were just starting to see what it was, but no one really knew the scope at that point. So I was lucky. Like I was like one of the last people in the door to the exclusive club before everybody knew the club was in town. You know, I was like one of the last people in the door on opening night. That's how I look at it.
But if you look back to that time, look what really helped Jiu-Jitsu grow. IBJJF.
Yes.
That's exactly 2007 is
when the
they start
pandemic's
coming.
coming here, yeah. That's
No,
true.
world. They start coming.
On the worlds too, but
They start
they
expanding.
did the pandemics first, you know.
Yeah.
They did the pandemics first, then worlds, and
And look how important a federation is to grow Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh yeah.
You know, people don't take that for granted. You know, like this is really important. Like we need federations to grow Jiu-Jitsu
Yeah.
and expose that to the world. You know, but just like a quick talking point, because we're getting to that time, right? Like Jiu-Jitsu was nothing before that,
No.
and now we have schools every corner.
Everywhere.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's going to be even bigger and bigger than that.
I believe so. Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you on like especially on the like the federation side of it, like you were saying. I think it's really important to have a governing body. I mean that's the reason that there are so many different Olympic sports, but there's usually with those sports it's one governing body. So like I think that's what'll propel jiu-jitsu potentially in like something like the Olympics. I think will be everybody settling under one unified rule set governing body. Like wrestling has USA Wrestling, judo has USA Judo, like or at least in the United States, you know. And I think they were trying to do something very similar to that with jiu-jitsu back in 2007 2008 when they were trying to kind of shoehorn submission wrestling into the Olympics. And they had like world team trials and stuff in like Vegas and stuff for their athletes to go to Turkey. That was a while ago. But yeah, very, very similar, like very close time frame to that, 2007.
all right. You get in the school, you buy the gear or no?
Oh yeah, yeah. So actually,
How
so
was
no,
it?
so I walked in to buy a gi. I ended up talking to one of the guys there who was the assistant instructor at the time, and I saw my wife who was teaching a kids class. Well, my now wife, I didn't know who she was then, but I was like, I'm not signing up for anything. I just want to buy this uniform, compete in this tournament, see how I like it, and then we'll go from there. And the guy goes, well, you'll get a uniform if you just sign up. And I saw I saw this girl teaching, and I was like, okay, I'll sign up.
I sign up
No
for
problem.
her.
Yeah, no problem. I had no idea where it was going to lead. And I'm super grateful that I did, because I wouldn't be talking to you guys right here, right now if I didn't. But to answer your question, so I did the tournament. I had read, in the 2 weeks that I heard about this tournament, I went and bought a Hoist Gracie book from Barnes & Noble. I think it was Submissions for No Holds Barred Fighting, Volume 2 or something. And I read it for 2 weeks. In the tournament, first match, I hit a triangle choke. And the second match, I won by points. I ended up taking third. And everybody there was like, so do you train or anything? And I was like, no, I've never been to a class. And they're like, wow, you're stupid. And I thought, well, I think ignorance was bliss. I had no idea what to expect. I thought these people were a bunch of dorks. And I ended up losing to a future teammate. And the rest is history. I went to class Monday and I never stopped going.
Man, that's crazy. But like
Yeah.
we talk about like how easy today we has accessible. It's like it's too touchable. Like you go online, search, you buy a course.
Oh, yeah.
You seminars everywhere, it's school
You
everywhere.
would go to YouTube if it wasn't available for you right now. You bought the book, but nowadays would be on YouTube.
On
right?
YouTube.
Nowadays I could have just
But like
pulled up YouTube.
man, you learned how to do a triangle in a book. That's like
Yeah.
you really need to wanna do some to write a book and try to learn. You know, like
Yeah. No,
it's
that
not
was,
easy.
Yeah, that was the easiest way to get the extra information back then, was to buy the book, because Barnes and Noble had books about everything. You know what I mean? So you can go buy a book about jiu-jitsu, striking, whatever, and then that was how I was getting the extra stuff on the side. That, going to class, and then instructionals came out. My first instructional I bought was something. It was Takedowns for Submission Wrestling by Mario Sperry, and I watched that, and I kept buying his DVDs and stuff like that. But I had to go to, that was back when they had groundfighter.com or groundfighter.tv, like, which where you could get all like the instructionals, and you know,
Buddha videos
Buddha
too, right?
videos,
Buddha
yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
What on my generation is like more popular. Buddha videos start. Yeah.
I think 2008. I think they already doing it.
What, the
Buddha,
videos?
Buddha
Yeah,
videos.
2008. I'm
2008.
like really little
Because
kid.
close
Yeah.
from, but it's close from your time, right? 2006 to 8.
Yeah. Yeah. The Mario Sperry DVDs are hilarious if you ever watch them. They're really good. I mean, Mario's crazy, but those videos are, if you listen to them now, you're like, I can't believe he said that. It's crazy.
I gotta look at that.
Yeah, I never saw this too.
I'll show you after
Yeah,
we're done.
please.
Yeah, there's some funny clips. But no, so yeah, so that's how I started. I just wanted to buy a uniform to compete in a tournament, and I did, and I loved it. I thought this is so much better than boxing, in my opinion, because I can control the potential for the knockout. So like, you know how in striking they say let the knockout come to you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in jiu-jitsu you can just go get it. Like, you don't have to wait at all. Like, you can just strategically put someone in position to lose to you, and you can control it the whole time.
That's true.
And I thought, well, I like being in control, so let's do that. I love jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
And if we talk about this too all the time, I feel jiu-jitsu it will be the combative sport. It's like more practical. Like everybody
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
be practical jiu-jitsu in the future. You know,
Absolutely.
it's like
Will
no
be
way.
the largest martial art in the world, Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
You see people merging from striking to Jiu-Jitsu
you did it.
every day. Every day. Everybody, we talk here, man. I was a karate black belt. I was a kickboxing, moving to Jiu-Jitsu. They're almost, because Jiu-Jitsu you can do into. I have a
Whole your life.
67-year-old student just start training.
Yeah.
But it is like learning to train jiu-jitsu for real. You know, it's not
Yeah.
just gonna be like, it's learn jiu-jitsu for real. But when you see strike, you can't get punched in your face that way.
No.
When as a 7 years old.
It's impossible.
But to train for real, you need to get tapped,
Yeah.
which is knockout, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to train a striking art, you're going to have to get hit at some point, because you're going to have to learn how to apply it. And in jiu-jitsu, it's very forgiving. In jiu-jitsu, I was just talking about this with a kids class I was teaching yesterday, because I was subbing in for one of my kids instructors, and I had to class. It was like 40 kids in the class, and we were talking, and we always talk before we roll, because they're kids. Like, they have to be reminded that it's not personal. They have to be reminded that you guys are friends, you guys are teammates, and it's just like playing a video game. When you get tapped, you just reset the game, and you start over, and you do it again. Only this time you have feedback as to what not to do. You know, you got caught in an arm bar, you shouldn't leave your arm out. Maybe you should, frame in a little bit closer. Maybe you shouldn't push as much. And we were talking about that, and it's instant feedback without the head trauma. So you can roll really hard. You can have really hard rolls with the kids. We call them scraps. So you can scrap hard, but you don't have to get hit in the face. You don't have to get hit in the body, kicked in the leg.
No.
Potentially like hyperextend your arm, or break your hand. You don't have to do any of that. You can just roll
And tap.
and tap
And tap.
and tap.
And reset the game.
Yeah, and you reset the game. The game starts.
I
over.
like the knowledge. I use this with my kids for sure.
Ask in a kids class who plays video games. All of them raise their
Yeah.
hand, boys and girls. Cool. When you're losing the game, you hit pause, you reset the game, you start over. Cool. Well, you're gonna do better the next time because you had to restart, or because the game is over and you had to restart it. And that's what tapping is in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And it gives you the possibility of finding different ways of doing things. You have to find different ways. If you're getting caught in the same way, you're gonna have the same outcome. You have to find ways. You have
Right.
to solve problems in different ways.
Problem solving.
Yeah, and using your body. It's not only here; it's mind and body at the same time.
Yeah. How the
With
two
video
connect.
games, you can learn, but mostly here. But in jiu-jitsu, use your mind controlling your body, which is
Yes.
unique.
It's a much more healthy outlet too.
Yeah.
So you make the comparison to something that every one of them do, and it's like, yeah, well, this is just like that, but there's an added benefit that you're going to be stronger. You're going to be more in tune with your own body. You're going to be more aware. So there's
And confident.
and confident.
Confidence.
Yeah.
That's true.
I was talking to my I was telling this my sister-in-law. She's like, "No, kids will talk, right?" She's a psychologist. So kids gotta talk. I was like, "Someone's bullying, you gotta talk." I was like, "Punch him straight in the face. Not gonna happen again." Punch straight in the face. Someone's bullying you two,
Talk
three
first.
times. You
Talk first.
Hey, don't do this to me. Hey, don't do this to me. Hey, I'm asking you. I don't accept this.
Yeah.
Hey, don't do this to me.
Yeah.
Boom! Never
Done.
gonna do it again. But otherwise, if you do that, if you don't find a way of taking the guy, whatever, react. Someone is walking to, hey, give me your money. No. Give me your money. Walk. Hey, give me your money. You give the money, you're a victim.
Right.
You stand up for yourself. That's not gonna happen again.
Right.
And for a kid, man, this is the way of becoming a stronger mind adult. You know, like, hey, you
Yeah.
gotta stand up for yourself sometimes. You need to know how to be violent, but not use violence.
Yes.
Only when needed. But you gotta know, otherwise you don't have confidence.
Yeah.
You don't know what the outcome. But when you know you're capable of what you're capable of, you know the outcome. And most likely you're not gonna step up on that far. You know, you're gonna be able to
Yeah. No, I agree.
back up. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of the idea.
I love
you know?
that. What are you doing to stop bullying? Punch in the face.
Yeah.
Hey, I 100% sure if your kid is getting bullied 3-4 times, he's talking and he punch in the face, you're gonna be very proud of him.
For sure.
100% sure.
No, absolutely.
But the world is canceling people. Oh, you gotta
don't do it.
Yeah.
But
stand
I
up for
feel
yourself. You
need
don't have to hurt people, but stand up for
No,
yourself.
if you need to protect yourself, do it, whatever.
They-
Better his mama cry than my mama, you know.
Yeah.
But like you say, talk 1, 2. Man, on the third time, you don't need to talk and don't need to say anything anymore.
And
It's
just
time to act.
Yeah, and just having the confidence in yourself to know that, hey, I'm going to be okay, especially if I stand up for myself. You know, and that's not always inherent in every person. And I see that because I've taught a lot of kids, thousands of kids over the last 17 years, because I started helping out teaching almost immediately as soon as I started. Like, I fell in love with jiu-jitsu.
Especially
immediately.
because you like the girl who's teaching.
Yeah, that
the
always
kids.
helps. Yeah, that definitely always helps. But no, so I've seen it. Like, you know, you have some kids come in and they're ultra confident, and I don't know what for, because they don't really have the background to back that up. But like maybe they might play sports and they've seen what they can do on like that intermediate level of competition, but maybe they've never been faced with a bully, or they've never been faced with any sort of like an existential like struggle of any kind. You know what I mean? Like, or somebody wanting to be forceful towards them, or someone just with a problem, ill will. And then you have some kids that come in and they don't have any confidence in themselves. And a lot of that might be due to their activity. Maybe they're a little bit more introverted, a little bit more shy. But I feel like both of those types of kids, the type A athlete, do everything, semi-confident, not really any reason to be other than sporting. And then you have the kids that are more introverted, nowhere near as confident. They come in and they both will gain that background confidence that they need to speak up for themselves in like a self-defense situation, or even just to have the hard conversations to prepare them, like what you said, JP, like for later in life. Like if you're gonna be a leader of any kind, you have to be able to speak up and have like hard conversations, whether it's in like a, you know, like a job setting, or if somebody wants to have a problem.
Even the community, you know, be a leader in your own community.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of how I basically try to teach our kids. You know, like, hey, I'm teaching you to become a leader in your community, because I believe this is the way we're going to change the world.
Yeah.
If we can help those kids to become leaders in their own communities, then we can change the world.
Yeah. And as teachers, we're investing in the future, you know, because it's the next generation that inherits the future. And if you invest in that generation, then future's secure, you know, for the most part. I believe that. I believe in producing good people first, good martial artists second.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's definitely what we're doing in a school. You know, like
Yes.
we teach a lot about life. Way 1% of your school, maybe less, maybe on my school 1% too. Here, like around that, will be like fighters.
Yeah.
But we touch and you change a lot of people's lives on that way, you know, especially kids.
Yeah.
Some like you say, some kids like shy. Some kids don't even look at me on the beginner.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that guy's so big or whatever. They scare. Past couple of weeks, they confidence, they roll with me, they trained, you know, and then like you see how how the jiu-jitsu helps. You
Yeah.
know?
And for extra confidence kids, we give them the ability of becoming more humble, right?
Yeah.
We humble them a little bit. You get
Yeah.
a very small kid, like, hey, I can't handle this kid here, small little kid. All right, gotta be more humble. Now you balance it out, right? Being humble, but you be able to stand up for yourself. You know, like that limit.
Yeah.
So
like
I
the
think
humility and the confidence. Yeah, they definitely have to be
it's
balanced
important
out.
to balance that. So
And talk a little bit about your journey. You start there, start training jiu-jitsu, never stop anymore.
Yeah.
What a
So
point, like, you transition to be fight a little bit more and like open your own school.
so I started competing instantly. Like I said, I competed.
you start
actually
competing
before
before.
even training. Like, yeah. I started competing soon after I started training again. So I started training, started competing again. Got into more no gi, like submission wrestling. I competed in a gi too, but I think for like every 5 or 6 no gi tournaments I would do like one gi, just because I was more so interested in no gi for, you know, the MMA side of it, and most of my training was no gi, and a lot of it was just, you know, staying after class, rolling, you know, hours on end, no timer, let's just go, you know, let's roll with everybody here, and, you know, 1 a.m. we can all go home. Did that for years, and in that process, in that first, I would say, quarter of training, I remember my wife and I, Michelle, so, and you know Michelle, we got to talking about, you know, the gym itself, because we didn't own the gym at the time, so it wasn't our say. Like we talked about this last year. Like, you can run a program, but if you're running a program but it's not your thing, it's not your gym, it's like you don't really have full creative control over it. And if you want creative control, if you want to be able to control everything and control programs and things like that, it's easier if it's your own thing, because it starts and stops with you. So we had a vision for what we wanted, and the person who owned the gym before we didn't really have that vision. He was off doing other things. So we approached him about purchasing the gym. It was like a week-long process. We finally ended up getting the gym.
It's on the same place or no?
Same place, yeah. And we changed everything about the gym, literally from top to bottom, like the way we wanted to do it. And a lot of it, I'm not going to take full credit for it. A lot of it was Michelle's idea, as far as
100%.
this is what we're going to do. These are the programs we're going to add. This is what we need to do these things. And now we need to go find, because she was my first coach, like, because I had no experience. She had been training for 6-7 years at that point. So she did it before it was even known to be a thing. Like, cool. Like, she started like
way back
1999, like beginning of 99. So she really did it before it was cool. So like, I can't really say shit as far as like when I started, but we did. And then she said, okay, now we need to go find a coach who is like far better than both of us. We have to, you know, now we have to get with a different, we have to get
What's
with a
your
team.
belt on the time?
Really? Wait, so this was 2000 when we bought the gym. This was about almost a year and a half after. So blue. I had just gotten a blue, and that was it. I had just gotten my blue belt, and we were doing consulting with this guy Nick, who was in New Jersey. He owned a karate gym, and he had just started doing consulting with Robert Drysdale. And Robert got mine and Michelle's first coach, Paulo Jensen, teaching out of Nick's gym, because he wanted to get into the United States and start teaching and everything. And I heard that Robert was kind of like speaking and signing for this guy, Paulo, and he was part of the Checkmat team. And I really wanted to get training in with him. So I started driving to New Jersey. And I met him the day after he got in town, and we started training, and I trained with him from that point on until I got my brown belt. throughout that time, I'd also been going out to California and training with Eric Paulson in the combat submission wrestling, style, where it's like folk style, freestyle, Greco wrestling, sambo, judo, jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling, everything. So I was training with Paulo.
Kind of like I'll grapple things together.
Everything.
If you grapple, grab somebody, it's together.
Striking.
Nice.
Yeah, it's everything. So training with Paulson, training with Paulo, and kind of like meshing those two things together. That's kind of what made what I am today and what the gym is really all about. Because if you come into the gym, not everybody does the same thing. It's like a melting pot of jiu-jitsu. I'll have guys that are purely just on the sport side of it, guys that are on like I just want to do jiu-jitsu for self-defense, or I just want to do jiu-jitsu for MMA, or I'm going to do only gi, I'm going to do only no gi. It's like there's people
I'll mix it
all over the gym, all mixing everything together, and it's an awesome atmosphere. So I was with Paulo until around brown belt, and then he ended up moving back to Brazil for he just wanted to be around his family. And then I had been training with this guy, Danny Suarez, who he was in the IFL, fought for Marco Huas. He was also part of Eric Paulson's team. I met him while out in California at a pro camp a couple years after getting with Paulo. And when Paulo moved, I had approached Danny and said, okay, well, if he's going to be gone, then I'll just, train with you because I know you. And, I liked your style. And he was kind of filling in the gaps where I wasn't getting the training in with Paulo and vice versa. So they complemented each other very well. And I've been under Danny since that point. And that was in 2014, I want to say, 2013 maybe. It was around that time. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
it's interesting to see how jiu-jitsu was so small in such a short period of time,
Yeah. So young too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's like a new.
Yeah, it is like new. Like in terms of martial arts, it's very new.
Because I moved here in 2014 and it was very small still, It's growing so fast.
Yeah.
Imagine
it
in
just
5
has
years, man, 10 years.
10 years from now.
The seeds we plant now, in 10 years, will be like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Huge.
feel like everybody with a moderately sized gym now, if they do the right things and they treat people correctly, I feel like, they'll be the bigger ones in the next 5-10 years, for sure. It'll just keep getting bigger and bigger.
That's true. I have a vision for schools. I'm franchising Ogogi.
Nice.
So I have that vision to expand worldwide.
Nice. No,
And
I love
think
that.
that's the future. I think that's going to help to grow,
I think it will.
so we can have like systems in place where like, let me help you because you have no help. You had to figure everything out by yourself. You
Yeah.
had to figure out how to find help.
Yeah.
How to find the right people. How
imagine it when you open your school, you have this.
Oh, I know.
On the background, the systems, man, it'll be
preparing
like super
everything to,
easy.
like, a,
Yeah. Way easier.
Way
Yeah.
easy.
It's,
You figure it out by yourself. You and Michelle figure it out. Make it happen.
For years. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've given a lot, to the gym itself and to the members themselves, like for sure. But it's everything to us. Our gym, our students are everything. So, and we're grateful to be able to do what we do because we're extremely lucky, all of us, to be able to do what we do. And we don't have to do anything. We get to do it. We don't have to run a gym. We get to run a gym. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that they can live off of that successfully and change people's lives in the process. Usually there's a big disconnect there. For us, we're immediately right in front of them doing it.
I tell people all the time when they come to me, it's like, hey, this bit is like, no. This is about people.
Yeah.
People first, business after.
Always.
People, business. People help the business. People
Yeah.
grow the business. People support the business. Hard times, people take care of the business. I think that's how Ace should be with the mindset. I don't like people coming to business. Coming to Jiu-Jitsu for the business of Jiu-Jitsu. I like to see people from Jiu-Jitsu starting doing business for Jiu-Jitsu because then you don't have the financial in the front. It's about people. You're on the mat, you're like, you're rolling with somebody, man. Do you know he's struggling? Maybe he's something. Hey, how you doing, man? Maybe he needs this month is hard for him. You might be, hey, man, it's cool, man. Like, you can train. I'll help you out. What do you need, man?
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, you see differently.
Oh yeah.
Instead of you see the person instead of you know.
Yeah, I feel like firsthand as a coach, as an instructor, however you want to say it, I feel like firsthand we get the backstory of everybody when they start, especially if you're handling the students coming in the door. So if somebody inquires about classes, I'm usually catching them first, mostly because I want to also meet all the incoming students, because I like to control the quality of people that are coming in the gym as well, because you will be associated with who your students are.
That's true.
Outside of the gym, whether you know it or not. So if you have somebody that's in your gym and their values don't line up with yours, or they just so happen to maybe be in a profession that is not looked at as being very wholesome or, family oriented, that's going to draw a lot of families and a lot of very wholesome people away from you, because they're going to, even though you're not like that, they're going to assume you are by the company you keep.
Like JP said that, like, man, every member they get to the gym or whatever, they represent Jiu-Jitsu.
Every one of them. Yeah.
It can be 1 day, 2 days in the school. After that, he represent Jiu-Jitsu. All that.
Absolutely. So,
And it's not only your school; it's Jiu-Jitsu as a whole.
yeah.
They're using Jiu-Jitsu or doing something bad in the world. They're not only using your name.
Yeah.
It's Jiu-Jitsu, so it hurts the whole community when they're not able to.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's like that guy that choked that guy out on the subway. I looked at Michelle, and Michelle said this first. She goes, how bad is this going to look if it comes out and the guy does like Jiu-Jitsu? What is that going to make some politicians think? Like, oh, okay, we should make Jiu-Jitsu illegal, because if somebody who learns how to do a rear naked choke takes it and uses it irresponsibly, people could die. Or maybe you could just chalk it up to that one guy who was a moron and shouldn't have held a choke for 4.5 minutes. We can just say that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think the more you train,
More
less
control
chance
you have,
you
less-
have
yeah.
to do.
I believe that.
Jiu-Jitsu
A
at
good
that
wrong.
level.
On
You
the
can
bad
control
way.
someone hey,
And
talk
don't
to the
even
guy. Hey, chill out, man.
Yeah.
Just wait for the police.
Yeah.
You're okay. I'm not gonna squeeze too hard, but hard enough so you can move, or I'm controlling you well. I
Yeah.
think Jiu-Jitsu would help even more in that process.
Yeah.
If,
Well, it's like that Matt Serra video, the guy in the pizza shop, and he's on top of him. And the guy's like, get off of me, and he's just holding him, laughing. He's like, chill out, bro. When the cops get here, I'll let you go. That to me is like,
that's the perfect.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
You didn't hurt the guy. He
hands
didn't
of
have to do
grace
anything.
as well. I did you see the subway
Yeah.
too? Like the guy's like being a jerk, and he's like take the guy down and held the guy, talk to him. Hey man, you better respect. You better respect.
Yeah.
Never. Hey, that guy never gonna probably say anything against another
To
person.
nobody.
Not
to
that way.
nobody.
Hopefully not.
You know.
You know? Maybe that guy will
He gonna
train
be
and
more, and he
become a
gonna be
different
more
person.
aware now. Hey,
If I met this guy, I'm like, I will look for a Jiu-Jitsu school after that.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll help him become a better person, or maybe not. I don't know. I mean,
we hope to, right? That's why we use
Into he never trained, but definitely this mistake he not gonna do anymore.
yeah, maybe
Like
not.
you know what happened? It's like our hands on the phone, speaking in Portuguese in the phone,
Yeah.
And the guy like start to like make fun of it. Hey, why you speaking Portuguese? Blah blah blah. Complaining. I was, hey man, leave me alone or whatever. Like, and the guy keep, hey, stop talking Portuguese. You talk about me or whatever. Start like,
Yeah.
get on here, and then the fight has happened.
Oh, he thought he was talking about him.
No, I think he wants to just.
He just
tell
like,
him, hey,
yeah,
don't-
like,
you
yeah,
can't speak it
you
here.
can speak Portuguese here because you're in the USA. Kind of like this,
Yeah.
you understand?
And then hands are just.
Like, okay,
grab
I'm not
him,
gonna
took him
speak
down.
Portuguese. I will tap you out now.
Yeah, for real.
And ask him to apologize.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he had
you
the
better apologize. Hands was like, you better apologize.
Oh, Hanzo said that to
He
them.
was
Yeah.
like, you
Oh,
better
okay.
apologize, man.
I was gonna say, yeah.
But I think it gives you more. It makes you more humble now. I think knowing that you don't know the outcome, and you're not as saved by the law, make you more humble.
Yeah.
Because when you think you can say whatever you want in front of someone's face and they're not gonna do anything about it, just gonna keep treading them. But if you don't know the outcome, you're gonna be more respectful. I think the world needs more of that.
Yeah.
To become more people talking trash on
They-
social media,
all the time.
you know, and then you put in front of the face, hey, say that, man. But you can get hurt if you say too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't know the outcome, you know. People will be more humble.
I think it would be a lot more useful, especially if everybody trained, because everybody would be a lot more respectful for sure.
Yeah.
You know, that was actually one of the reasons that Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo or modern day judo, that's one of the reasons he wanted to get judo into the school system, was because if everybody trains, the mutual respect between everybody else would be, you know, would be much higher level than it would be, you know, currently without it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the whole point. The Serioko Zenyo is mutual benefit and welfare for everyone involved, and that's, you know, and judo and jiu-jitsu are like twins anyway.
Exactly.
You know,
And this part of our vision, like we know that with PBJJF, we can and we should spread jiu-jitsu worldwide. It's more tournaments. Like we think about this, hey, your student come to a tournament, they have a great experience. They're gonna bring at least 2 or 3 friends to come and watch them competing. Now with the live stream, they're gonna send to 5, 10 friends. They have a great experience. They watch this. Win or losing doesn't matter. They have a great experience. Those 2 friends most likely gonna be, man, I think I can do this too. Look how jiu-jitsu is helping you. I want to do this.
yeah,
So if they have a bad experience, they're gonna be like, man, you're crazy. Good luck, but you're crazy. I'm never doing this.
It's for you, not for me.
You know, and that's kind of how we see some tournaments. Like, man, do whatever you want. Go. People were injured, getting hurt, and like we're like, Max and I were like, man, we gotta do something about this. I don't allow my students to go to those tournaments.
Yeah.
There's something wrong. We need to do something to help, and even allow our students to go. If I don't allow my students to go to a tournament, there's something wrong.
yeah,
Because and disrespect with coaches, you know, with families are watching. Like, you're about to compete, you're supposed to compete at 8, then you compete at
5
5 p.m. You know, like it's, you know, like that's the mission of PBJJF. We want to grow jiu-jitsu. We want to have competitions where we believe it will grow the sport and the schools as well. You know, like that's how we believe, and we can spread worldwide and have that mutual benefits of building the world with jiu-jitsu values.
And if you don't compete on PBJJF, you're missing out.
You're missing out.
Talk about this. We have a tournament this weekend. If you don't sign up, go check right now the website pbjjf/smoothcon.com, right?
No, pbjjf.smoothcon.com. And you, man,
Do your
if you're
sign
not
up
a,
in
if you're
2
not,
weeks. 2 weeks, man. We
2
doing the
weeks.
Pan Ams.
Pan Ams.
The registration is like 85% full.
So that's the 24th, right?
24th.
24th.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Do your sign up, guys. Do your sign up. Guarantee your spot. It will be a really nice event. The higher belts, black belt and brown belts, we fight early in the day. Make sure you're there to watch them fight too. You know, support your coach. And then, porrada time after, you know. Go
And
there,
we're
get
gonna do
like
something special. We're gonna have a commentator team.
Oh,
And
cool.
we're gonna have a special camera to follow the match and like
Oh, that's sweet.
really like
not in all match, like match 1 probably will be like the match
Yeah.
has the commentators. You
That's
know.
really cool.
Yeah.
and the black belts are going to compete first. So some of black belts are coached, so they can later
Yeah.
focus on coaching their students as well.
Yeah, so they're not thinking about what they got
Yeah.
to do later. Like, I always like that.
Or like tired, you know, because like man, sometimes you coach all day and you go fight like around 4.
Yeah.
Man, you're already tired. You don't wanna think and fight whatever. Like
Yeah, they're pulling mats up, and you got a finals match, 2
That's
black belts
right.
going on, and
They
everybody.
want to give the exposure for the black belts. We're really like, hey, one thing we're talking about this day, like, we're working so freaking hard that we're gonna make it happen. Like, we're really like, hey, if we keep doing what we're doing, 10 years from now, PBJJF will be big in the scene. You know, like we
I
really
believe
see
so.
that happening and bringing more jiu-jitsu to the East Coast.
Yeah.
People will want to come and open their own schools here, because the tournaments are here. If why people go to California? Oh, we're close to Pens, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we're close to Worlds, so we just drive by there. That's kind of how we want to bring PBJJF today. Stay here. We go out. We're going to Dallas, Florida, but we want to bring people to here so we can grow jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
even more here. You know.
Another thing, Josh cut, but like I see a lot of new guys here on the comments and like watching us. Please make sure you subscribe, you like the video, you know, you share with your friends the podcast. All right, that's the way you guys can support us. Please subscribe.
Guys. Don't forget to subscribe and share to all your friends. You know, it'll be important to receive that support. That's how we keep going. You know.
Yeah.
But
Shad say here, PBJJF has a great values and message. I am glad my daughter competes in this organization with Method MMA.
Who was that?
Nice. Chad
Gibson.
Gibson. Yeah. Chad. His daughter Lily.
Breakfast
That's awesome.
Club Jiu-Jitsu. I think
That's your student, yeah.
I think black belt scrapping first is a fire idea.
That's awesome.
Is going to be stocked for pants. It's stocked for pants. It will be my first. Going to be my first competition. I get to be part of history. Ron's over here. Shout out to Ron. 410 Ravens. Ed is absolutely beast.
Who is that?
401 Ravens.
I don't know who that is.
I know.
They probably somebody put a nickname here.
Probably.
Maybe from 401 Academy or something like that. I know they're from Delaware, right? Close to Delaware. Maybe.
I don't know.
George is always here. Shout out to George.
Shout out to George.
Joe's here. Yep, the video's back, guys. Went down, it's back. But yeah, that's kind of how we want to do. You know, like we're seeing like the growth of jiu-jitsu. You know, like, and this is going to be better for all of these schools.
Yeah.
You know, we believe like San Diego is huge. So many schools and they're all packed. You know, like we believe more we bring jiu-jitsu here, all of the schools, all of the jiu-jitsu community will benefit from that.
I love the way the PBJJF is run. It is exactly what it is. It's a professional Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu federation. Like, it is very professionally run. It's as close to being on time as any tournament's going to get. You guys treat the coaches like royalty, which is awesome because it's cool to be looked at as far as like seniority. Like, if you are a black belt, they do letting you compete first. Brown belt letting you compete first. Like, to me, that's awesome because it's like Max was saying, like, why would you make the black belts wait around all day, especially when they're the ones who have given the most to the sport at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let the white belts go last. To me, that makes the most sense. It's like, well, you're newer, you haven't really had the time in the sport, but this guy's spent 18
That's
plus
true.
years, so we are going to let him go first.
And you give the exposure for the black belts, because now like people are not tired. Sometimes when you have the black belts going
Late.
people are already gone. You know, like,
Yeah,
they
right.
can't-
Sometimes
so-
the tournaments are like start taking off the other mats
Yeah.
and the black belts
Yeah.
is still running. That's not good.
we want to really give the spotlight for the community, for all schools, for everybody that is on the tournaments competing. Like, they're gonna be the winning, and you're gonna get noticed. You know, like,
Yeah.
you wanna know a bias. You know, from this school, that school. Sometimes you see that, some medias. Media in jiu-jitsu, they pick like, oh, AOJ. Let's talk about this guy. We're talking about it earlier, right? Max was winning against this guy. They're filming. Max won. The guy, boop.
Yep. Yeah. What was
Let's
this?
not show that the other guy lost and the Max won.
Oh,
But-
was that ADCC?
That was
No, Pan Ams.
Oh, okay.
Pan Am,
Oh, okay.
IBJJF Pan Am. They like,
Whoops.
let's not even talk about this.
Forgot.
Yeah, give him the
give the guy give him a minute.
Yeah, it's
Give him
like
the spotlight.
like you feel like sometimes the guy's trying to promote whoever they wants to
Yeah,
promote. You
Yeah.
know, which it takes a little bit of. We talked to Pedro Maia, like he didn't get a lot of exposure as he should. He just got second at Worlds.
On the
Brazilian
toughest
National,
division.
the toughest division, you know, and the guys wasn't even like they're talking about the purple belt from this school and not talking about the black belt.
Right.
They were just destroying like everybody in the bracket, you know.
right. Yeah, yeah. I think less bias would help as well, for sure. Give the right people the spotlight.
Yeah.
That's and I think that's the why we started doing those things, you know. And like, hey, we're always doing something about jiu-jitsu, right? Like we need to grow. How can we grow the community? How can
What,
we
You're giving back.
What do you think about what, like, I don't know, things we can do or like the community can do to jiu-jitsu grow, and like to
For jiu-jitsu to grow,
more like get more spotlights or whatever. Like how,
I think
what do you think?
So I believe that anytime you look at an industry, so jiu-jitsu or jiu-jitsu gyms, martial arts gyms can look at fitness gyms as kind of like inspiration, similar to the way that the UFC did with WWE or WWF, whatever you want to call it. They took a model and just applied it to what they were doing. Well, martial arts gyms and fitness gyms are not that different. The biggest difference is like what the main goal of it is, as far as like these people just want fitness, these people are looking for martial arts, so it's there's fitness included, but it's on a deeper level. You know, they're also trying to acquire a skill. They're not just trying to exercise. But I think that if you look at the gym scene, the commercial gym scene, you can take some of their practices and apply it towards the gym. So like advertising, workshops, things like that. Especially advertising, just advertising and being loud and outspoken about what you offer, especially if you have a good product. I don't think there's any harm that can come from that, especially if you're trying to reach more people. That, and also investing in the people that, you know, like the Gregs, the Mannies, the Ferrantes, the other black belts at the gym, like kind of putting them front and center and letting them become teachers. You know what I mean? And because there's more of them than there are me, I can take 5 other guys and show them how I want them to run their class or run their system or whatever, and give them a lot of creative control over it as well, and just kind of offer the fine points on the teaching and watch them grow to become teachers, hopefully better than I can. Like that'd be the goal, you know. And then maybe each one of those guys will either want their own gym or expand programs at Method, and we can reach more and more people. And I think it'll happen over time. It'll snowball. Like you'll eventually reach everybody. You just it's volume and, consistency.
And time, we gotta sometimes have time.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Sure. But we're really lucky because we live in an age of like where information is like instant. And we were just talking about this before the podcast. Max, you're at 100 students already. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That took me years to do. But now
6 months for me now.
That's perfect. That is so awesome. Like I don't think a lot of people realize how hard that is to do.
But like I think I don't know if my ego is too big or if like my confidence, I don't know. 'Cause before I'm like 3 months about 100, so that's holding me down a little bit. I get 3 months, I don't have 100, so I'm like, fuck man, I do something wrong. Like I talk, I get more access to, like have a lot of access to JPU and know I'm like, okay, that's not easy like that. Take time, takes a lot of work,
So I think utilizing, marketing and ads and things like that, I think that is going to contribute heavily. That, and if we as martial arts gym owners decide that we do want to go that route and maximize like volume of people coming in the door, consistency with like classes, quality of your product as far as like your classes, your message, what are you teaching, like what are you actually teaching your members?
Market today is a big thing, man.
It's huge.
My school is not like outside in the street for nobody walk on my doors. I need to market. They need to hear about me on Google, Facebook, everywhere. You understand? Like we invest a lot of market, but I have that conversation with like a friend from Brazil who's here like a couple weeks ago asking like, man, what is type of market do you guys doing? And he's like, we do like some flyers or whatever, but it's like a lot of like mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Word of mouth,
Yeah.
And
this is the best marketing, of course.
It is.
Word of
I
mouth
really
is
believe
like-
on that because they come like almost close to the way.
Yeah.
If I like something and I invite you to go there, man, I talk so many good things about this, you're gonna get there ready to close. That's the best one. But
You have to bring more people to the door.
more people bring it to the door, more chance to you convert these on the members and whatever. More people you can touch and.
Yeah. But I think the guy we're talking about, he's like far north in Brazil, right? Like we're talking about
Yes.
Like the big cities, people already know that.
Bigger cities they doing more.
Google, social media.
But they
marketing.
feel it's like it's so slow in Brazil. It's still a little bit slow. The market it's not everyone to do. Who's doing is
everyone.
way ahead.
Yeah.
Who's doing the market or whatever? Like they.
You gotta show your product to people.
Yeah.
Although if people don't know you, how they gonna find you?
Yeah. Especially if you have a good product and you believe in if you believe in your gym and you believe in your atmosphere, and and that takes, it's just like anything else. It's constant work, constant effort, making sure you have the right people in the right places. Making sure that there's no drama. If there is,
Please, no drama.
if there is, get rid of it. Have the hard conversations, get rid of it, so the environment can flourish. And with the amount of word of mouth that we get as a gym, I'm eternally grateful for that. I feel like that we are very lucky in that every student we have is constantly bringing friends in, constantly telling people about the gym. And even when I get phone calls, I made, I don't know, 6 or 7 phone calls yesterday in like a 10-minute span of people that called and left messages. And they were like, and those are just the 6 or 7 that I could get to. And everybody that picked up the phone was like, yeah, my friend goes to your Muay Thai class there. My friend goes to your no-gi class there. My friend that attends your 5:30 gi class there. And he said it's awesome. And I just want to, schedule a time to come in for an intro. Perfect. That's awesome. Like the fact that there are other people saying how awesome, the environment is that's fantastic. That's all I've ever wanted to do is provide that. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Yeah. And more people train, the better. Just because
I like what you say about like the opportunities for more instructors too. I feel we like leaders, they had we need to encourage more the students like to cheating. They get like a brown belt, get a black belt, man. Get encouraged.
Yeah.
Cheating, like for sure follow the system on the school or whatever, but like we on the place we need to encourage this other people because sometimes they not trust on himself.
And they might not think that the opportunity is even there, and that might be something they really want to do. And if they want to do what we're doing, why would you not help them? Like why would you not?
I have a instructor course at my school. I'm not only trying, I think that's the future too, not only trying to teach people Jiu-Jitsu, but you got to learn how to teach.
Teach people how to teach.
Who's going to teach you that?
That's awesome. I'm currently doing the same thing, and like an instructor training course.
You got to teach people how to teach.
Yeah.
To be able to expand. Otherwise, people
just out there, or you're gonna expand in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And at least this way, you have people you can trust. You know them personally. You've been in the same room with them, taught the same classes with them, and you know who they are. You know what type of person you're bringing in. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just taking an outside contractor and putting your name on them and just saying, okay, go ahead. Like too many problems can come with that.
Yeah. My goals in the future is like definitely has my own students, open more schools, and we maybe be a partners or just affiliation or whatever.
Perfect. That's
and
awesome.
Like growing.
Why would you not? Why would you not want to train? Train people and change lives.
I think this is not even I want is when it's gonna happen. Because
already. Yeah.
It's how Jiu-Jitsu goes.
Yeah.
Like, Alliance. I'm from Alliance. Alliance is Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
People have to move, and they open Alliance. It's
Yeah.
just like a when.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
it's about when.
Yeah, happens like
And when you want people to, or people want to represent you as well. You know, a lot of times you see people leave, but they don't want to represent. Cool. But how you create a system that people want to represent?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in Jiu-Jitsu, unfortunately, I talked to Max about this before. People want to put their names on stuff. JP Jiu-Jitsu, Max Jiu-Jitsu. No, it's
Yes.
Ogogi.
Yeah.
Ogogi is beyond JP. JP is not here.
Should be
Ogogi
bigger. I
is-
feel like that the school
You
should
know.
be bigger than everyone.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the image of one person.
Yeah.
It should be what it stands for. Like long after we're gone, is your gym going to still be standing? And if the answer to that, if your honest answer to that is no, then you're not doing your team or your gym any sort of good service. Like your gym should be able to continue going past your lifetime, so that gym that you started can change more people's lives.
And it doesn't need to be a lifetime. Maybe like 10 years from now, like, hey, I want to stay behind the scenes. I want to do more other things, you know.
Yeah.
I want to be more outside of the organization.
That's one.
Sure.
You know?
I teach 90% of my classes,
Sure.
but in the future, definitely I want to get more instructors to split that, because one thing I believe I will need the time.
Yes.
I can't be like on my 6 to all the classes, you know. For definitely we need more instructors, but soon I do that, I get more instructors to split the classes. The school has less my face.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Yes.
I'm there. I teach couple class, but like, man, you're not gonna see me in all classes. But you still should come and train your own Eddie class, train your own JP class. You know, like
Yeah.
example, man, because the school is big than Max.
Yes.
And the system is there. Go in any class, guys. Don't
Yeah.
choice like a instructor or whatever.
Now that's where we are now. We have more instructors than we've ever had, and I was really hesitant to do that. Like I'm a really big, I don't want to say control freak, because it's not about that. It's not about controlling things. It's about more so just controlling quality. And I always associated people's feelings towards the gym with their direct feelings towards me, and that's not always the case. But I always thought, well, if someone has one bad class, they're not gonna like the gym. They're not gonna like me. They're gonna look at that as a reflection of me. When in reality, is that true? Maybe
No.
every once in a while, but not overall. I feel like people are usually generally pretty understanding. And that was like the hardest thing. That was like the last thing I had to let go of before bringing in kids instructors. The teenager, group instructors. Like that was a really hard thing for me to let go of. And then when I finally saw the result of that, it made me so happy I did, because I was actually able to start more programs, put more teachers in place, and affect more students in a shorter period of time. Because at any point in time, there's always usually 2 classes going on at the same time at Method, which is awesome, because I can't do that myself. I can't teach
You
2
can
classes
teach 2
at the same
classes.
time.
It's impossible.
No, but I can put guys that I trust and guys that I love and guys who I believe in to run those programs, and still teach them and help them out, maybe with teaching cues or reading a room or helping kids or talking to parents or whatever. You can affect more people in a shorter period of time if you just multiply yourself a little bit. And that's where we are now, and I'm super grateful for that, because we would not be anywhere near the size we are without everybody working together. It is not just me. It is not just Michelle. It is every one of us working together. It's cool.
And then, like, you got a lot of really good instructors.
Yeah,
I know
like-
most of them is like really high levels and good.
Yeah, like I still like to teach. I only teach a couple classes a week. And those are classes that I love to teach. I love all of my students, from the 4-year-olds all the way up to the 84-year-olds. But I teach an adult jiu-jitsu class twice a week. I teach Muay Thai. And I like that. I teach the adult classes, and I run the pro, the pro training with the fighters, and that's what I do. Those are my favorite parts of the day. but I love being in the gym, talking to the parents, seeing the kids on the mat, watching the assistant instructors train them and really take their time and help these kids. And so this is one example. Remember how I said it was really hard for me to let go of the idea of me not teaching everything and just controlling everything, and I kind of let loose of the reins a little bit. There's going to be some pain in the beginning. Like, some parents want you on the mat with their kids because you're the black belt and everything, but there's no opportunity for anybody else to grow under you. You are going to choke your own business. You're going to choke your own gym. You're going to bottleneck it. All the growth will stop with you. But if you can put people in place that you trust and you put energy into and showing them how to do it right, not just putting them in there and saying, all right, do this, but putting them in there and saying, all right, do this. And when you do it, I want you to say this like this. This needs to be your tone. Make sure you're watching all the kids. Make sure you kind of step back and view the whole room. Make sure you're actively engaged in talking to the parents. So if any of them have a question, they can be answered. Making sure we're engaged, making sure we're present. One of my assistant instructors just came to me and basically said that he has completely changed what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And he wants to teach martial arts, be able to, live independently on his own, and eventually one day open up his own gym.
It's magic,
That's awesome. Now, I would have never had that conversation had I not approached him earlier about teaching and putting him in that position and giving him the confidence to understand like who he could be as a teacher. And if you never have that conversation because you're the one always wanting to control everything, that guy will leave. Like you said, that guy will leave. That guy will leave and search for something that he can do and can be the star of. And if you let those guys take front and center and realize that it's not only about you, you can change more lives than just yours. And that's what it's about, connecting and having.
And when you put your name on it, people don't usually want to take your name, but they want to take something bigger.
Right. Yeah.
Method. They take method. They don't need to take Eddie because they're gonna be their own stars at their method in that location.
Exactly.
It's not Eddie. What is Eddie?
Yeah,
like somebody open school in California.
Yeah.
Eddie Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, what? No, Eddie Madeline. He's in Bel Air.
Yeah.
But I want to train with him. I want to train with him.
Yeah.
But Methodol is bigger than this.
Yes, it's much bigger.
Makes sense to me a lot too.
We are like what? That's the.
Yeah, and it's a brand. It's not a person, and that will outlast anything.
Like my uncle took my part of my uncle JP Morgan. So he put his name on the business. It worked for him.
That's awesome. But if that's your uncle, like, look me up.
In Jiu-Jitsu. It wouldn't work. So that's kind of how, I try to share this with some friends, like I try to give some advice. Sometimes people are not ready to listen to advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not on the right time to listen. Because sometimes you tell something that hurts, but you have to tell that.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, having the hard conversations. And some people, the egos are going to be too big to hear it. So that's cool, whatever.
But I learned this recent.
Yeah.
It's like, me and JP were really close, Sometimes we disagree with each other. I'm like, you crazy, JP, whatever. And I go home. Well, maybe he's right.
Yeah.
And like I'm humble enough to come back, and I'm like, yeah, man, no, you're right on the thing. I'm sorry or whatever. I'll try doing that way. And he get these two. But in the beginning, man, that's crazy.
But this is what makes our relationship and our vision stronger.
Yeah.
Because we don't agree with each other all the time.
And you're not going to.
I don't think. But we respect each other on let me listen. Let me go home and think about it.
I hear about this. Sleep on this. Get the information. Sleep. Thinking about. Next day we back talk about this.
Let's research.
Maybe I change my vision, or maybe my vision is right and you change your vision. And we keep on that.
It's kind of how because if you, and sometimes you need somebody to hey, no, I don't think that's the way.
Yeah. And that should be more normalized, having those hard conversations, because Otherwise, you're gonna, yeah. I mean, I've dealt with this on a few different fronts, especially recently. But in terms of like having, having the hard conversation, having having had to talk like with one of my other black belts, and it, people are really quick to assume certain things. And I think that if you're like what JP was saying, like if you're not ready to like hear something, or if your ego is too big to think that someone else's way of doing things might be the correct way to do them, and only you have the right way of doing things, well, you can step back and look objectively too. You can always do that. Step back and look at and say, like, what is this person's experience in this area? And what are they telling me to do, or what kind of advice are they offering? And now look at my experience in this area, and what do I know on this subject? And if that answer is less than the other person, you should probably listen to the other person. Or if they know a little bit more than you, maybe you should listen to that other person. Like, and I think that comes with like the humility side of it too, having like the inner wherewithal to kind of step back and say, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm not always right, or maybe that person isn't right. Maybe I should just say they're not, so we can have that hard conversation and come to an agreement. And
I have an example on the mat. I have a student, a kid. He don't move wrong, but it works. He's a kid.
Yeah.
Even wrong works. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I come to him and talk, hey, look, we go fix it. We gotta fix these. Like, you should do it that way.
Yeah.
I like to do it that way. I'm like, that's fine, but that way is wrong. Like, one point, you go get caught.
Yeah.
And like, okay, I'll try. He try, get on the tournament, did it the same way wrong. He got caught.
Got caught.
Back in the gym, 2 days after, I'm like, coach, you can show me again that move? I'm like, all right, come here.
Yeah.
But like, he learned on the hard way.
Yeah.
He got caught on the moment, But like, if he had listened a little bit early, maybe he don't.
Yeah, and I like when when anytime that happens, it's kind of funny. It's like, well, I like to do it this way. It's like, well, who has the experience here? You or me?
Yeah.
Like, trust me, do it this way. Well, that's your opinion. You hired me for a reason. I'm your coach for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, this is I am giving.
If you don't need me, like, why you pay me? Like, you can figure it out by yourself.
Cool. I tell people all the time, like, there's 7 doors to my gym. Take any one of them. Bye.
Bye.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, and I think that's going to become less and less the norm as time goes on, and people get a little bit more, a little bit more humble in their beliefs, and a little bit more less critical of other people, and kind of listen to the experts. That's one thing I think that is going to have to show itself. That's one thing people can't fake in jiu-jitsu. You can't fake.
The mats don't lie. The mats don't lie.
Just had this conversation in another podcast, and we were talking about how that one of the things that I absolutely love about martial arts in general, but especially jiu-jitsu, is that the truth will show itself. It will. There's no way around it. So if you think your way is right, cool. I think my way is right too.
Let's put
There's a mat right there. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's always the easiest way, because that you won't be able to bullshit your way through that. You won't be able to stretch the truth on that.
Mm-hmm.
We can find out right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the best part. And that's why, like I said, I did a podcast last week, and we were talking about how, as a coach, you try to give your students the best possible answers and create the best possible system for them to be successful, because you also want them to see the value in what you teach. So if somebody asks me a question, how do I get out of this submission, or how do I set this armbar up, or how do I set up this cross choke, or whatever, I have to answer that student as best as I possibly can and give them the most efficient, most high percentage entry, setup, execution that I possibly can. And if it doesn't work for them, I have to go find somebody better than me to help this person, right? And that's always been my feeling towards training and training other people. I have to give them the best possible answer to set them up for success, so we can build on that, and I can make this person as good as I possibly can, so they can feel the way I feel, like that, the confidence, the the reassurance in your own head, the ability to speak up. Maybe, I can help them in another area in their life that they might get that confidence from jiu-jitsu for. And, they might lose weight, get that promotion at their job because they feel a lot better. They carry themselves a lot better. You know what I mean? So
They're more confident.
they're more confident, and that will come with, the right answers, the proper training, the right partners, the right environment, good class setting, all of it. And that's like the one thing I love about it is we can create that environment and it's completely truthful. Like, I love that portion of it. I think that is like the best part of it for me. Because if somebody asks me a question, there's no guessing. It's like, oh, well, this is how we can do this.
And you get on the match, like, you roll, like, hey,
Yeah.
you're that big deal. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to roll at some point.
Yeah.
We're going to know.
Yeah. Let's do some
We're gonna
field.
know.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Let's do some field
We're gonna
research. Let's
know.
go.
But like I feel jiu-jitsu is a lot of ways to do the same move correctly, all right, and be workful.
Yes.
That's fine. But some things is real wrong. That I mean, if you do like something like
We've talked a lot about that.
that's like definitely don't work, my friend. Please go on that way. And like you have, man, on black belt, I got almost 7 years only be a black belt. I see a lot of things. I don't know everything. It's impossible to know everything on jiu-jitsu.
I agree.
But a lot of things, especially from the basic things, I know when it's right and it's wrong.
Yes.
Feel like a white belt come to me and try argument on me, like, and say, that's the way I like to do. I would do like that. Sometimes I just, all right, man. It's like I can't convince you anymore.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I can prove that don't work on me. And then like
Exactly.
And at one point you go get cut like for a higher belt, or like when you maybe go work for years, white belt, blue belt, you get in some level, purple belt, the level start to get a little bit more top and better. That movement not gonna work anymore if you don't fix.
And there isn't a thing that I talk to my students like, hey, and sometimes like, hey, this is not wrong, but it's like, hey, I think this or the thing would probably be the best way of doing this at your level in jiu-jitsu at this time in your jiu-jitsu. Maybe like 10 years from now gonna be this that you're talking about, but right now I think this would be the best option for you.
Right.
Because maybe you're a white belt. Hey, maybe this might, not saying that you're doing is wrong, but, and sometimes it's not wrong, but maybe at your time you need to go and do this way.
Yeah.
Back to
right
scissor
now.
sweep. Let me see your scissor sweep.
Yeah.
Because people, like, I understand that people, they start training, what first thing they do, they go to YouTube.
Yeah.
They figure things out. I saw a student doing like trying to do a back take from half guard, and I saw him doing it. I was like, hey, I know what you're doing. It's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool. And the research is like, hey, tell me two hip throws name. And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, go research the fundamentals. Come back and tell me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're trying to advance too far, but we forget the fundamentals, you know?
Yeah.
Which is, I know is natural, because if I do something, I'm going to research as well. So,
Of course.
How can I do it? You know, but when you have someone to guide you, listen to who is guiding you at least at this time until you have enough knowledge to be able to move on your own.
Yeah. In terms of like a let's just say, like, you can compare it to like a business setting. So if you look at like one of the easiest pieces of advice is any highly successful person in business will tell you is go find somebody who's already done what you're doing and succeeded on a high level, and just ask them what they would do.
And people charge a lot of money for this knowledge. Okay?
Yes, but that's exactly what we do. And I remind people that all the time. Like, if I tell a white belt, hey, this is how you should do this guard pass. Well, I like to do this. I'm like, right, but you don't have the experience that I do, or that Manny does, or that Greg does, or that Mike does, or Michelle does, or whoever the other black belts are at the gym. You don't have the experience they have. So maybe you should listen to one of us. And when you are advanced enough after doing the fundamental things for so long, then you can kind of form your own opinion on that. But for right now, I'm telling you, you're going to get swept, or you're going to get caught. Like Max, like you were saying about your student, it's like, trust the experts. We've already been there. We've already done that. So maybe you should do it at this point.
When I started investing, I was like, I find that advisor was like, hey, where should we invest?
Yeah.
And then he said, hey, let's invest in this.
Yeah.
Let's invest.
Don't
in that.
complain, do it.
You're the expert. I know nothing. I'm the white belt, and I try to put myself in a white belt spot in everything I do in my life. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, advisor here. Oh, this guy knows more here. Oh,
But no, that's
I'm a white
but
belt.
I feel like be a black belt. You learn how to be a white belt.
And
How to be
Like
a
how to be a
the
student.
process to
And
become
now
a black
you're
belt.
like, all right, I know what I need to do to be successful, to finish this, all right,
Yeah.
to complete, to act that goals, and you go on that process.
Absolutely. Find better people
It's-
and ask them how they would do it. Cool.
And
follow.
listen.
Yeah, like we could sit back and say all day that, well, we know exactly how to talk to students and we're fine with like we were talking about, like, let's just say advertising. I wanted to start running ads. That's why I went to Lance. Because he already knows how to do it. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to figure it out on my own. I'm just going to go to somebody who knows what they're doing, and I'm going to see what they would suggest. And what they would
Shout out
suggest.
to
how
Lance.
can
We need
do.
to bring him
Great.
here. We need to bring Lance here one day. He's like really nice guy.
Yeah, he's a ninja. He's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But like, and that's exactly like anything, any question I have. If I have a question about my car, cool, go find a good mechanic and ask him.
Yeah,
Right? I'm not going to assume to know it myself.
maybe I don't even know how to open that thing.
That's true.
But that's one
But that's the
skill
way.
I appreciate people when like the car broke or whatever, they open, looking, accelerate, bro. We need to change this. I'm like,
Yeah.
the fuck, man.
Yeah.
By hitting, how?
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Me
with
neither.
cars. No.
Like I that's one skill I like. Nah, this guy know what he doing, man.
There's a saying, right? Like I think it's a story, right? The guy called someone, and the guy just fixed the o parafuso, como é que fala? The
Screw. No, the screw is the.
screw the thing.
Oh, the gas cap?
No. What's the thing you put the screw to?
Oh, the ignition?
No, on the car, whatever. Have a wall with, I want to put
This thing
something
right
in the
here.
wall. I need to.
Oh, the screws, like the bolts and
Screws
stuff?
the bolt.
Yeah.
The guy just changed. It's like 2000. It was like just 5 minutes. Like it's not the 5 minutes. The knowledge I
Yeah.
learned
Yeah.
to come here and do in 2
And
minutes.
I
5
tell you,
minutes.
it's this one here.
And it's the right one.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like,
It's you're paying for the knowledge. You're not paying for like
for
the
the
time.
work, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
so and the time that the person put to like learn that. You know.
Yeah. The amount of time it takes to get a black belt, most people can achieve like a doctorate, like a PhD. That's
For
insane.
100%.
So we have a PhD in technically applied physics, you know, in martial arts and jiu-jitsu, that's applied physics. So
It
we
is.
all have PhDs in applied physics.
On the most real situation.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, exactly.
Applied and applied physics.
Lots and lots of field research.
Yeah. Well, coach, thanks so much.
Oh yeah.
Thanks
Anytime.
for coming
Nice.
today. We
It's a
appreciate
great
it.
time.
Hell yeah.
Love to have you here. You know, I wait for that time so long. We try to schedule
I
this
know.
like maybe
Yeah,
3 or
yeah.
4 times.
I know. It's been insane. But no, we got to get what is it? Michelle, Greg, Manny.
Yeah,
Mike,
I want to
all
bring
of them.
everybody. That's only no. That's already for this podcast, but we have too many people want to bring in here.
That's
you know?
awesome. How many you guys have done already?
thank
Like
you.
40.
Podcasts.
40
already?
already. You're the 40.
That's awesome.
Sometimes 2 to 3 hours each.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So
that's
80,
awesome.
120 hours, between that.
That's awesome.
I
So
told people I just should get a new full-time job.
you have 4 full-time jobs now.
Four
Max.
full-time
I'm the
jobs.
Julius.
Yeah, dude, seriously, you're
It's crazy, man. But like, man, I'm 30 years old. I'm like younger. Time to do it now. Like in the future, I'll look back and I'll see like everything I did. I think JP on the same way.
Yeah.
Like, we want to do, and that's not for me, man. For real. Like I figure out, get to one point till we get on the PBJJF. I'm like, man, we can't stop anymore.
no,
It's not like
it's
Yeah.
too big.
We
Now
can't back
it's
up.
too for the
And we're
community.
behind. We're like
Like-
people are pushing us, like supporting enough
You
that
guys have an
can-
awesome name. I mean, that in and of itself, you guys have a name that's known and it's associated with like quality, professionalism. Why would you stop?
And we try bring this. Definitely, we push it. We try always improve, get better.
Yeah.
We think about like going out, for the East Coast or whatever. people outside, like from Dallas, I was like,
People
hey, you
reach
guys
out
should
to
come, you
us.
guys should come. Like, we figured out a way
Like,
to be there. Then I mean,
But that's all,
faster
like-
than we
Yeah.
were planning. Like they're like, hey, you guys need to be here. Florida, same thing. Texas.
And how long have you guys had the PBJJF?
2
2
years,
years.
2 years.
So it's only 2 years old.
Last
2
month
years.
we did it.
That's awesome.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
So that's so fast.
It's fast.
And like what you were saying,
thanks
that-
for your support, because you and your
Yeah.
team always there.
Everybody,
those things at the beginner, you know.
No.
Everybody from the East Coast is giving us a lot of support. I think we're in the mission together. We can't everything that we're doing here. We can't do it by ourselves.
No.
Yeah, it's
Like
impossible.
you're a big part of it. All the professors that come to the tournament support, train their students to get there.
Yeah.
It's just elevating the level of jiu-jitsu and helping us to grow.
Yeah.
And everything we bring to PBJJF, we invest back. We have full-time employees. Like what federation do you see having, you know, looking for this type of evolution? You know.
Yeah.
So-
Well, at least there's you guys. You know, that's the point. Like,
And we have a mission. I think we're doing this because you guys are supporting us. You know, like that's how we're capable of growing PBJJF and making things happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we'll do it together.
that's the
Say
way.
shout out to everybody who's watching us today. Share with your friends, like, subscribe on the channel. Okay, thanks so much for our sponsors, PBJJF and Roll Life. If you wanna be a sponsor, contact us, professional jiu-jitsu at gmail.com. All right, USA. Let's go. See you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eddie. Nice. That's awesome, man.
Was that good enough?
Oh, man, so good.